Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. I bring you tips, advice, and guest stories about creating work you love. Whatever type of career or business you have or want, I want to help you find more meaning, money, and happiness. Now we are live from Hollywood. Hello, and Happy New Year. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host of the Limit Free Life Show. And that was, in fact, a lie. We are not live from Hollywood. We're live today from my office in Malibu, and had some technical difficulties. Sorry about the late start. We'll try to do better coming up in the next few shows. So welcome. Welcome to my world. I spend a lot of time away from here, but it's kind of relaxing today to be doing this from my office in Malibu. And I thought, since I'm here, I would show you a couple of things that are in my office just for fun, for a minute. It is a new year, and I don't know if you can see this. My daughter got me this for Christmas. So it's a little heart made out of, I think, some kind of a rock, and it came with a little note. It's kind of messy looking. It's got all kinds of little textures to it where it looks like it's been carved, and it's a work in progress heart. And the note that came with it said, "Embrace the process of being a work in progress. It's a commitment, not an excuse. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." And that's from Maya Angelou. And so I have my little work in progress rock here, and when things happen, like my phones don't work, like happened this morning, or my computer is not working correctly, and I get started late on my radio show, I can pick up my rock and roll it around in my hand and feel less annoyed. So I'm excited about my work in progress, and I'm excited about your work in progress. This show is all about creating work you love and creating a financial situation you love, and just making your life entirely enjoyable from all aspects. So I am one to say, find your passion, find your dream, make it happen, figure out the strategy and the way to execute your big goals and your big dreams. And the new year is good. So we're going to start the new year with, and I think I'm going to do a few shows around money. Money is pretty foundational. So making up your goals and your plans for the new year, we don't want to see my face freezing as we go along. So that's really, let me grab my rock again, and I'll just keep reminding myself that everything's a work in progress. So here she is. So let's talk about money. I, for one, am doing things really differently in 2019. 2018 was it was a good year in a lot of ways, a bit overwhelming. It was a bit busy to chaotic. I worked really, really hard. And so I've got I'm just cleaning this slate for 2019. I'm really, really excited about it. I'm letting go of a lot of things that felt like they didn't really work. And, and I'm bringing on the things that I really never felt like I had time to do in 2018. So in the deck, I'm really relooking at things, and I hope you'll do that too, because it is a great time to do that. Talked in the last show, actually, if you want to go back and listen to last week's show, we talked about planning, and so that was a good show to kind of get you started with setting out your goals and your plans for, I have to stop looking at my face or I'm going to do this whole thing. So that's a good show on planning, general goal setting, things like that. Today, we're going to talk a little about your relationship with money, which is incredibly important as you go forward. So great to start the year off with the intent to set up a great relationship with money. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, so I'm just going to keep talking and hope that you can. So let's see. Okay, so a relationship with money. The first thing I want to talk to you about is the fact that the best thing you can do when you start out this year is to really acknowledge and understand that you have this relationship with money, because a lot of people are somewhat unaware that they have a relationship with money. And so I want to talk a little about how important that acknowledgement is, because, well, let's just look at it this way. If I were to ask you, who are you in relationship with? My guess is you would say a lot of things. You would say something about the people that you're in relationship with, and you would say something about, your mom, your child, your spouse, your dog. But most likely, if I said, so who are you in relationship with right now? Most likely would not say money. So I'm just here to tell you that you are, in fact, in a relationship with money. And once you start treating your money like it's a friend or a relationship that you have, everything changes, because you never treat people who you want a good relationship with the way we normally treat our money. So when you make that mindset shift, and I'm all about mindset shifting, when you make that mindset shift that your money is a friend, it's an ally, it's a support team for you, it's a relationship that you need to spend time with and love and be there for and think about and set goals with, and all of those things, everything really changes. So I tell you, this really became apparent to me, and I was gonna say that when think about the relationships you have with people in your life. How do you interact with them? Do you acknowledge them? Do you spend time with them? Do you ignore them? Do you just kind of let that relationship work out however it works out? Or are you intentional and deliberate about making sure that you do certain things in that relationship? Are you kind in that relationship? Are you considerate? Are you thoughtful? So all of these things we can take into our relationship with money. And I think that is just an absolute critical factor. Sorry, I'm preoccupied with my frozen face on the screen, and I have absolutely no idea if you're hearing what I'm saying. So I'm actually going to find out by texting my radio engineer. Okay. All right. Sorry, this is a little rocky start to an already rocky start. So I want to talk about how to set this year up differently, because that's really, in 2019, I want everything to be different for myself. And I think I know a lot of people who would like a lot of things to be different. That doesn't mean I don't want to carry some of the 2019, the greatness of 2018. I want to carry those things forward. And I want, the last show I did was a lot about reflecting on 2018. So I want to carry what's good about 2018 forward. And I want to make sure that I let go of the areas that were not so good and bring in the new that is really important. Not just a continuation of last year. I think that's a lot of times what we do is, okay, I was in the middle of this at the end of 2018, so we'll just carry that into 2019. And I'm creating a firm cutoff where I wrap everything up and tie everything up in 2018 with a bow. And the only things that are coming into 2019 with me are the ones that really, really, really worked or seemed like they were going to bring results that I wanted. But the things that are going to make me happy, they're going to bring a couple of things into my life, results that I want, a little more prosperity and abundance. And that could mean anything. That could mean money. That could mean time. That could mean increased energy. That could mean more beauty. That could mean whatever the heck I want abundance to mean. And I want it to bring me more joy. So there's a few things, that I actually picked, and I think I might have mentioned this in the last show, that what did I say in the last show that I was just going to tell you? All right, it'll come back to me. So, oh, got it. Word of the year. So I want to make a word of the year, and I hadn't quite done it yet. And so I finally figured out my word of the year. So the word of the year for this year is extraordinary. And that's how I want life to feel. Now, that doesn't mean every day I'm on a cruise somewhere, but not that I even really like cruising, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. Doesn't mean every day I'm traveling the world and everything is amazingly exciting and there's, you know, champagne every day. What it means is ordinary for me. So, you know, there are a lot of things that I would consider making my life extraordinary that you would probably not agree with. So everybody has their idea of what that means. And so for me, I just want to know at the end of the day of house cleaning that I did it in an extraordinary way. So I don't know. I listened to podcasts I wanted to listen to, or I did something that made it extraordinary for me. So that is to do my year. That's my word of the year. If I come up with a plan or an idea that feels like it's not going to be particularly extraordinary, then I'm not going to do it. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know. But I would pick your word of the year. And it's a good guideline. It's a good way to check yourself and filter decisions through that word. If there's some old, you know, ways of doing things, maybe, you know, in all honesty, I go to the bank a lot. I mean, it's a really silly thing, but I go a lot, like too many times a week. And I do things in a way that kind of, that's something that's not an extraordinary use of my time. And so I am going to find some ways to handle my banking needs differently. And so that's just an example of something that last year was just feeling like too much, a waste of time, didn't work. I know there's a better way, but I was always too busy to stop and figure it out. So this is the time when I am going to figure all those things out. And every exercise to what I do with my money and everything else, how I work with clients, you name it, it's all under review. And so let's talk again about relationship with money, because that is such an important relationship. And if you can get 2019 started out with a really good relationship with money, that is going to change the trajectory of the year. And I'm quite certain of that. So I'm not only adjusting my mindset around all kinds of things, what I can earn this year, how my spending is going to go this year, what I can keep this year, and what I'll do with what I've kept this year. Setting some goals I actually do want to invest in, whether it's personal or business, and really thinking these things through with a positive mindset, with a mindset that it reinforces the idea that I can have and do these things. And then also with the practical plans to take care of my money in the way that it needs to be taken care of. Because just like any kind of relationship, you have to spend time with it. You have to notice what's going on with it. You have to speak to it, and you have to really sit down with it and make sure there's good communication, there's awareness of what's going on, and that you are making plans and taking care of it in the way that you would in a relationship. So I'm going to go through some ideas around that. And I'll tell you why this is so important, because your relationship with money is such a critical one. And again, like I said, the first thing you have to do is just acknowledge you have a relationship with money. Maybe you see it as just an inanimate object, but really it's a flow of energy and it's with you all the time. Your relationship with money is one that never ends. So it starts with, the first time you ask your mom to go buy an ice cream cone and she gives you some change when you're 5 so that you can go do that, and it's independent and it's freeing, and maybe she has some things that she says to you before you leave, like, oh my gosh, don't lose your change because I won't give you any more. Or maybe she says something like, yeah, you should have ice cream every day. It depends on the background and the upbringing of the person how they communicate about money, because it's all derived from what they believe about money. So as that 5-year-old, you're going to take a lot of that information, wisdom or otherwise, along with you. And you're going to grow up with these beliefs and these ideas. And they're going to form how you think about money and how you relate to money in your grown-up years. So no one really is very conscious of that when they're making these statements about money and to their children, or hopefully maybe they're getting more conscious. But so that relationship starts right about then, when you're a child and you learn about what money can do for you, or how much it can worry you, or how afraid you can be of not having it. All these things that you're hearing around you, they're circling around. The messaging is in your home, it's outside, it's, teachers and all kinds of people are making comments about money. And it's all, again, their own belief system. So you're forming your belief systems based on what you're hearing, what you're taking in, what you're seeing all around you. And it's going into your subconscious mind as a child, and it's creating belief systems that become, they first are thoughts, and then they're beliefs, and then they kind of control you and your actions and your decisions. And we're not that conscious of it because, again, it's in our subconscious mind. And so until you tune in, which we're going to do right now, you don't really know. You're just acting, you're reacting, and you're doing things and you're saying things that are based on beliefs that you're not really questioning. And I would say right now, time to stop that and look at some of these beliefs and look at some of these ideas that you have around money and ask yourself, should I question this? Is this, just an old belief that has been passed down to me? And do I want to hang on to it? Is this serving me? Is it helping me with my business? Is it helping me with my financial situation? And should I let it go, or should I take it with me into 2019? And it's not that easy to unpack your money beliefs. That's where I do a lot of work with people, helping them to understand what some of these beliefs are. And there are some great exercises and tools and processes to do that. But you can probably identify at least a few on your own, and really try to look at yourself objectively, as if somebody else is flying above your head and looking at you. So again, that relationship starts early, and that relationship goes on forever. Yay. That's kind of a tricky one, because it's not like any other relationship. It is a relationship, but it's not like a relationship that you might have with someone else. You can't divorce it. You can't move away. It doesn't grow up and go to college and leave. That relationship is with you forever, until the end. So it is a pretty big deal relationship. So you want to treat it that way. You don't want to ignore your relationship with money and pretend you don't have to pay attention to it and have it work out the way you want. You can't do that with any relationship. You can't, just act however you want and treat it however you want and hope it's going to be great. It's not. So money's the same way. So how have you been treating your money? Here's a little exercise for you. You can write a letter to your money. I might have talked about this before, but it's a pretty powerful exercise. And you're probably thinking, oh, I don't have a lot to say to my money. But when you sit down with a pen and paper and you start writing a letter to your money, you'll be surprised what comes pouring out. And so tell your money your feelings about it, how you feel about it, and what you enjoy about it, what you don't enjoy about it, what what some of your needs are with respect to your money, and how it's coming through for you or not. And really start just writing out as if money were sitting across from you in a chair looking at you. Write it a letter. And then actually sit down and pretend you're that money on the other side, sitting in that chair looking at you, and write a letter from the perspective of your money to you. So let's see what your money has to say about you. This sounded like silliness at one point, but I did it because I was asked to do it. And it was very interesting what my money had to say to me, and how it didn't really like the way I was taking care of it. And it didn't really like some of the things that I was doing with it. And so just kind of, if you can release all your, I don't know, your inhibitions about this, just sit down and write a letter to your money and write a letter back from your money and see what comes out of it. I bet there'll be some interesting things. So again, that money is so important. That relationship with money is so important. And it is a relationship, and who in their right mind wants to spend their entire life in a bad relationship? So if you feel you've had a bad relationship with money, or even if you've had a good relationship with money, you can always make a relationship better. It just follows all the rules of any other relationship. So that said, let's start treating it that way. And let's start looking at why this is important. It's really important because, for me, this show is primarily about helping you find work you love, whether that's growing and developing your business, or that's finding a new professional position somewhere. All of these things, whether you want to retire, these are all things that, what am I trying to say here? They have a huge impact on the decisions that you make. So your relationship with money may be keeping you from changing jobs. Maybe that's just too scary given your beliefs around money. Maybe starting a business sounds like there's too much investment, and your belief is that you shouldn't go into debt. You should save until you have that money that you want to invest in your business. And maybe that means you don't ever do it because it's too hard to come up with that investment capital on your own. I don't know what it is. These are examples, but these beliefs around money may be keeping you from creating that work that you love. And so that's primarily why it's important to me. It might also be, you might be a business owner who's having issues with money, and is, I know a lot of business owners who, money is a big, big, big stress. And so can they enjoy their business the way they want to? Not really, because there's this overriding cloud of financial problems that follows them around. And even if they're working in their passion, such a giant amount of time and energy is spent worrying about money and trying to figure that piece out. But not necessarily stepping back and saying, okay, I'm in a relationship with my money, so let me sit down and see what exactly is going on. When you're in a relationship with a person, don't you ask them how they're doing? Don't you, want to know if they're well, or they're sick, or they're doing okay, or they're happy or sad? Of course you do. And you react to those things. If somebody calls you and says, I'm having a bad day, you sit down with them and you talk to them about it, and you find out what's going on. Why are you having a bad day? Let me see if I can help. We don't really do that with our money, but when we're having a bad financial day, we should sit there and look at our money and decide exactly what's going on and how we can help. And a lot of times we stick our head in the sand or under the rug or wherever we can stick it. And we don't pay attention to what's going on. We just kind of keep working. We have tunnel vision, and we decide, if I just work harder, that's the answer a lot. For some people, it's if I just work harder, if I can just bring more revenue in. And so they put their head down and nose to the grindstone and they work harder. That doesn't necessarily solve the problem. As a matter of fact, that's one of my big goals this year, because I want to work. I want to work smarter and not harder. And I want to make, the money that I want to make, and I want to serve the clients I want to serve, and I want to do everything bigger and better with a more relaxed, not so hard driving kind of work experience. So, okay. So here's what I suggest for anybody who is trying to figure out how to improve their relationship with money. Number one suggestion is to create a money date. I talk about this a lot. I'm sure you've heard me say it before. Because that gives you an opportunity. It's a plan. It's a plan to sit down at least every week, once a week, with your money and yourself, and make it, again, have that sit down with your money, check in with it, think about it, talk to it, create more positivity around it. So if the situation is feeling good, great. You can pat it on the back and look at it and get excited and feel like it's a success and see what's, what the next steps are, where you're going to go from there. If it's not feeling good, then you can sit down, and it's incredibly important to face whatever there is that isn't feeling good. So the idea of, if you've got big credit card bills, the idea of putting them aside and not looking at them, that's not going to work. Bank accounts, they all have to be looked at. Credit cards have to be looked at. Investment accounts have to be looked at. Everything needs, you are much happier. This I can guarantee. It might sound awful if there's if there are balances and things out there that you really don't want to see. It might sound awful to look at it, but I 100% guaranteed looking at these things regularly, whether they're good or bad, is liberating. It's much better to know than not know, because a lot of times our imagination goes wild and we actually create scarier scenarios than even exist. So, and once you look at something, you can tackle it, you can fix it. And so, if you've got a yard full of weeds and you just choose to never look out there, it's not going to help anything. So look at it, see where it's weediest, and start pulling. So it's all about creating a mindset of really friendliness with your money and love for your money. This money that you're going to be creating a great relationship with is going to serve you. It is going to enhance your life. It's going to allow you to have more, do more, be more, whatever it is that you want. And it's going to create a sense of security for you. So all of these things they contribute to your happiness and your success. And so really, really important to completely shift from, money is the thing that is most difficult for me. It's the one thing I don't know anything about. It's the area that overwhelms me or confuses me or never gets better, whatever, all of that garbage that you're telling yourself, that's what I would ask you to stop doing. Stop talking about it and to it in that way, and start finding some really great ways to talk to your money and about your money. Use the words that you would use with a friend. When you have a frustrating relationship with a friend, but that friend means a lot to you, you will find the right words. You'll learn to communicate, and you'll filter what you say. And so again, it's just another relationship. So once a week, if you could sit down and have a date with your money, and it doesn't have to be the same every time. Who wants that, right? If you're in a relationship, you're not going to go on the same date every single week. So change it up. Maybe 1 week you're looking at your credit cards. You're creating a way to pay those down so that you can see an outcome that you want. A lot of times with credit cards, we pay, and we don't even look at the big picture. We don't know what paying that amount is going to do in the long run. And it's much better to lay it out and know that if I pay this amount every month, then it's going to start shrinking. And by month 6, it's going to look like this. And create something to shoot for. So maybe you're working on your debt 1 week. Maybe you're looking at investments another week. Maybe 1 week you're just paying bills and you're doing it lovingly with a sense of joy that you can pay your bills, that you're able to live in the house that you're paying the mortgage for, or you're able to drive that car that you're paying the car payment for. There's just such a nuanced way to really think differently about your money and being more appreciative of it. That is what we do with our friends. That is what we do in our relationships. So, and when we don't feel like we have enough of it, well, what do? If we don't feel like we have enough friends, we do some new things. We join some new groups. We take, some new courses. We go to the golf course or the gym or whatever, and we look for people that might, be potential friends. So again, it's the same thing. We don't like what we see with our money. Well, we don't just shut the book and go, drink and be depressed. We look at it from a fresh perspective and say, how do I make this better? And then we spend that time, we start thinking more positively about money. And I am going to make this better. I am going to improve my financial situation. I'm going to find the answers that I need to improve the amount of revenue I'm making, or whatever it is for you. Or I'm going to find a way to keep more money. Keeping money is a big deal. a lot of people make a lot of money and don't keep it. So, and honestly, that doesn't feel any better when you're working hard and you're bringing in a lot, and then at the end of the day, you don't have anything to show for it. Really, it's just all been spent on a million different things. That doesn't feel really any better than not making enough money. So you can't look at somebody who's making a lot of money and think, oh, wow, their relationship with money is great, because it's not always the way it is. So, and there are people who make not that much money who do an amazing job of keeping it and live the lives that they want. So there's no right or wrong. There's no judgment about how you do this, but absolutely 100% spend some time with your money and have a plan for that. When you go on a date, you don't just wander the streets hoping, I mean, maybe sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't wander the streets hoping that you'll find something to do. You go with an intention. You're going to the movies, you're going to dinner, you're going to the beach. So you want to do the same thing with your money date. So again, shifting that mindset to having a relationship with money that matters to you, that you care about, and spending time with it and doing important things with that time so that you can get to know your money better, so that you can show it some love, appreciation, understanding, and focus on future plans to enhance that relationship and make it the best one that it can be. And I will tell you, I do have something coming up in the near future. I haven't decided on an exact date, but I'm shooting for sometime in February to start a group program around your money date. And so, because it's a great idea, but like a lot of great ideas, you have to make time for it, and it's not always easy to do that. And that whole structuring of it, deciding what to do and what's important, and it's very individual, and it's different for every person. But it's also sort of hard to figure out. And a lot of times we'll fall back and just pay some bills or something, because that's the easiest thing to do. And there are so many things, so many ways to go on a money date, so many things that you can do together, you and your money. So I'm going to start a group where we can do that together. And I can help structure some of what you do, hold you accountable, give you ideas and advice and some training on certain money management aspects, and keep your mindset in the right place. There's so much amazingness that happens when you combine a great mindset with great actions, and everything can transform. And I'm really, really confident that if we work together on having these money dates month after month with all the things that I can put into this program, that by the end of 2019, your money, your feelings about money, your relationship with money, and also the actual financial picture, the dollars and cents, are going to look very, very different, and you're going to feel much more empowered and in control at the end of the year. And so that's really, because that's a great feeling when you feel like your money is not a runaway train. It is something that you are working on and improving that situation and feeling comfortable. It's like that relationship that's really, really good. I had dinner last night with a really old, wonderful friend, and every time we get together and have dinner or do anything, I just leave there feeling like, wow, this is such a special relationship. We know each other so well that it's comfortable. There's no worries about saying anything, wrong. It's comfortable, it's secure, it's really energizing, it's positive, it feels great, it's loving, it's everything you want. It's fun, and it's everything you want from a relationship. And so I want you to have that with your money. So 2019, come up with a couple of goals for how you're going to improve your relationship with money, and do your letter to your money, and have your money write you back, and set aside some time on your calendar when you're going to have your weekly money dates. And we'll talk about this some more, because I think it's a really, really important topic, and something that if you do it, it's not any different than deciding on an exercise plan and going to the gym. And the difference between thinking about it and actually doing it, if you do this all year, just like if you go to the gym all year and you plan it out and you schedule it and you think of it in the right positive frame of mind, man, you're gonna look pretty darn good at the end of the year, right? So same thing can happen with your money, and I don't care what your current money situation is. There's no scenario where you can't improve it by the end of the year by doing some of this work. So happy New Year. It's been great being here with you for our first show of the, is this the first show? No, I guess last week was the first show. So, and the two combined are pretty good for planning for this year. So I look very forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. You can find us now at ubngo.com, and we have some changes. There's some improvements for 2019 for UBN Radio as well. And so very happy to be coming along for that ride. And we're also live on Facebook every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And you can find the videos or the podcasts on iTunes after the fact, and some on my Limit Free Life YouTube channel. And have a great week. I'll see you next week.
I think one of the most important messages I have to share with the world about the work that I do is that your work is yours to create. This is your piece of art that you can create in your life, and there's really nothing stopping you. Overall, most of us can learn what we need to learn and figure out what we need to figure out and create that fabulous career or business that we dream about. And there's really no reason to think that you can't. My name is Michelle Perkins, and I am the CEO and founder of a company called Limit Free Life. And I help men and women to make dramatic change in their lives so that they can have the fulfillment, fun, and financial prosperity that they have always wanted to find through their work. The main services I offer through Limit Free Life are one-on-one private coaching, group coaching, trainings and seminars, and business consulting. My signature service is one-on-one coaching over a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, even a year. It really allows a person to decide on an outcome that they desire, and then for us to work together to really achieve that outcome in full. The type of clients that I typically work with are professional men and women who are driven to do more, who might be entrepreneurs, but also career professionals who work in organizations, who are really looking to do more with their lives and very open to thinking in new ways about what they're doing, and who are willing to take responsibility, do the work, make some changes, and who don't say I can't a whole lot. Clients up-level in a number of ways. For some, they start a business after being in the corporate world. For others, they have an existing business and they really figure out the key and the formula to making that business grow and take off. For some, it's a matter of really developing courage. And for many, it's a matter of up-leveling their view of themselves, what they're capable of, how powerful they are, what their strengths are, and where they can go in life. What I see also is that there's a spark that kind of gets lit, and that flame keeps growing within them, and there are things that they want that maybe they were reluctant to even express that they wanted, and now they just go for it. They have bigger wants and bigger dreams than they had before, and the sense that they can achieve those things. I feel very strongly that money beliefs are foundational to developing a business that can scale and grow and become the business that you want it to be, whatever level of success that is. And for people who feel stuck or their business isn't going the way they want, a lot of times it comes back to some of these money beliefs. So as a certified money mindset coach, I have the training to help people understand where their hidden money beliefs are either interfering in their lives or businesses, or coming into play in some fashion in all the decisions that they're making, both in their business and in their life. The overall mission behind my work is to help people love their work, to find satisfaction, fulfillment, fun, and also to be financially prosperous in what they're doing. That combination to me is a perfect recipe for making work a great part of your life. And so that's my vision, is for people to see work and money as allies in their life and things they can lean on so that they have something that makes them feel important and something that gives them a place to go to develop a sense of identity and purpose and meaning in the world. My greatest hope for my clients is that they will develop a holistic relationship with work, money, and life, and there won't be this separation where they go to work and then they live their life after work. And they will develop work or businesses that they love, they look forward to going to, and they give them the freedom and the income and the happiness that they're looking for in their life.